What's good, YouTubers and YouTubettes? This is JB Sports back again with another one. I'm over here at my bachelor's pad, gonna talk a little bit of boxing. The P. Diddy of boxing promoters, Eddie Hearn, always in the video, made some interesting comments after the Estrada-Chocalita 3 fight. I'm gonna break that fight down, what I thought actually transpired in that fight and the reason why Estrada was able to get back-to-back victories over Chocalita after Chocalita defeated him in the first fight. This was the tiebreaker. This third fight, in my opinion, was the third best fight of the 3 fights that they fought. Now, it wasn't like it was a snooze fest, but compared to the other 2, it was, in my opinion, the third best fight. Kind of reminds me of the whole Morales-Barrera trilogy when they fought 3 times. You know, the second fight actually in that trilogy was the third worst fight of the 3. The first and the third fight was epic. With all that being said, Eddie Hearn said after the post-fight press conference of Estrada-Chocalita 3 that he expects Terrence Crawford, who I have number 1 on my pound-for-pound list, to sell 10,000 pay-per-view buys. That's what he's saying. It's going to do 10,000 pay-per-view buys. You know, yesterday I went to the sports bar to watch Estrada-Chocalita 3, and they actually had the Crawford-Avaneysan fight on their calendar. So that was surprising. I was like, damn, they got the fight already up. So it's going to be in the sports bars. You know, I'm interested to see. I wasn't actually at the main sports bar that I go to watch these fights. When I watched Chocalita versus Estrada 3, I was at this place called Ochos Locos Sports Bar to watch that fight. The other sports bars that I usually attend when they have big fights, they didn't have the fight. Like Twin Peaks, you know, Buffalo Wild Wings, they didn't have the fight. So I had to go over here to the Ochos Locos. But they had that fight already on their calendar. So it's going to be interesting to see. I already know that Twin Peaks more than likely going to have the fight up. And so the fight is getting taken like normal pay-per-view fights involving, you know, top names in the sport of boxing. I was wondering, I was like, damn, I probably ain't going to be able to go nowhere and watch that fight. But here it is. Last night I was at Ochos Locos watching Estrada-Chocalita 3, and they already had that fight on the calendar, and they had it on the card. They got like a little menu card, and on the back of the menu card, they got coming attractions for the next week or 2, and they had Crawford versus Avaneysan up on the card. So we will see what happens. We will see what transpires. Not chalk that up to what Eddie Hearn said is hating. I think him and Terrence Crawford's former promoter, Bob Arum, been going back and forth. Bob Arum was at the Fury Chisora press conference. I think it was the final press conference. He said that Eddie Hearn has failed miserably here in the U.S. Eddie Hearn don't know what he's doing. Eddie Hearn is a joke. So I think Eddie Hearn returned favor and basically called out his former fighter, one of the top names on the top ranked boxing during his tenure, Terrence Crawford, saying that he won't even do 10,000 pay-per-view buys. Now, I believe the fight's going to do more than 10,000 pay-per-view buys. He also said that, he said even at $60, the fight won't do more than 10,000 pay-per-view buys. So we will see what happens, and we will see what transpires. I think he was chalking it up to hating on Bob Arum, just like Bob Arum hated on the fact that he failed miserably, according to Bob Arum, here in the United States of America on the zone, came over here with that alleged $1 billion deal, and he fell flat on his face, according to the Bob father. So we will see what happens, and we will see what transpires. But yours truly believes that this fight will do more than 10,000 pay-per-view buys. I think the curiosity of Crawford being out of the ring for over a year now, Crawford has done a great job in the lead up to this fight, doing interviews, talking about the whole Errol Spence Jr. fiasco. I think he's done a great job of being more visible. I just hope he keeps it up even after his defense of his WBO title versus David Avaneysan. So we will see what happens, and we will see what transpires. Let's get back to the fight of the night, the fight of the weekend. Chocalita versus Estrada 3. I got to get up out of here, man. I'm figuring ready to head over here to the sports bar to check out Deshaun Watson's return to H-Town as the Cleveland Browns take on the Houston Texans. So I'm going to make this video short and sweet. With all that being said, I thought Chocalita started off too slow. I thought he was trying to stay on the outside and be a little bit more calculated in the early rounds. I think it cost him in this fight. And I actually had the fight a draw. I thought he came on strong at the end, but I thought he gave away too many rounds. Even though I was looking at the fight, I was like, man, it's a close fight. I got it a draw. But I say, in the back of my mind, I was like, man, he started off too slow. A lot of those early rounds, if they gave most of those early rounds to Estrada, he's probably going to end up getting a decision win. And that's exactly what happened. As Estrada was able to, I thought he fought a much better fight than he fought in the second fight. Much better fight. He was much more aggressive early on. He was able to stay on the outside. He was able to catch Chocalita coming in. He was able to fight well off the back foot. And he was able to throw a lot of punches and bunches. And I thought he was able to do a lot of things that he did in the second fight. He was able to steal a lot of those championship rounds late. In the last 30 seconds, he was able to get off a lot of shots as Chocalita stayed in the high guard. And in my opinion, I thought he wasted a lot of opportunities. Instead of being so defensive in the high guard when Estrada was going off, he should have attempted to punch with Estrada a little bit more in those situations. He decided not to do that. I thought Chocalita actually landed the more cleaner, the more effective punches. I thought he hurt Estrada multiple times, especially in the second half of that fight. I thought he hurt Estrada much more than Estrada hurt him. I thought Estrada did catch him slipping a couple of times with some good shots that stunned Chocalita. But again, Chocalita started off a little bit too slow. Maybe he was worried about running out of gas in the second half of the fight, so he kind of fought a little bit more of a cautious fight. And he in the game plan all along was to come on strong in the second half of the fight. Maybe that was the game plan, but knowing that you did not get the decision in the second fight, which I thought he actually won, you won the first fight, that was a calculated risk that he took and ultimately cost him the fight versus Estrada. It remains to be seen what Estrada will go from here. Well, with Chocalita go from here. Chocalita say he will be willing to fight Estrada a full time. It's all about the money. Chocalita is 35 years old. He's on the back nine of his career. Not the same fighter that he was 9-10 years ago when he was mentioned with the greats, the elites of boxing. His name will sit at the top of many experts' boxing lists, as he was #1 pound-for-pound fighter at a time, according to many boxing experts, ahead of Floyd Mayweather Jr., ahead of Pacquiao, ahead of Triple G. He's not that same fighter, but he's still one of the best fighters when you talk about 130 pounds and below, one of the biggest names in the sport of boxing. So we will see what happens. We will see what transpires. Now, Estrada's promoter, Eddie Hearn, seemed to say after the fight that Estrada's going to be looking for unification in his division. He's going to be chasing belts. He wants to be undisputed. And then maybe down the road, they can revisit a fourth fight between Estrada versus Chocalita. And in my opinion, is one of the biggest Latino rivalries since Morales versus Barrera. So we will see what happens. And we will see what transpires. Eddie Hearn was also supposed to meet with Canelo Alvarez there in Arizona. I did not see Canelo there, so it'll be interesting to see what actually transpires as far as what's Canelo's next fight going to be. You know, Eddie Hearn seems to insinuate that, not even insinuate, he came out flatly and said that he's looking to make Canelo versus John Ryder in the UK. And I think that'd be the best move for Canelo when he's coming off surgery. He's looking for a tune-up, a quote-unquote tune-up. John Ryder's not no tune-up. They throw too many words out here. You know, they call people journeymen, people bums. Like they calling David Avaneysan a bum. David Avaneysan is not a bum. He's not Errol Spence Jr., make no mistake about that. But he is a top 10 welterweight. He beat Sugar Shane Mosley. I saw that fight. A lot of people say, well, Sugar Shane Mosley, he was past his best days. He's on the back nine of his career. Exactly, he was. But he was still a good fighter. He was still solid. He had slowed down enough, but he had just got in there with Canelo, and Canelo did not stop him. Canelo beat him, but he had been in there with some other guys beforehand. And he was still, in my opinion, at that time, a credible fighter. And Avaneysan beat him. Now, Avaneysan lost to Lamar Peterson. That's when Lamar Peterson was at his best. And he beat Josh Kelly, another UK hype job. Stopped him and pretty much stopped that hype train. Did a great job in that matchup. He's got some good wins, solid wins. He was trying to get a fight with Conor Penn. Conor Penn and his team didn't seem to be keen on that matchup. They probably was looking at the fact that what he did to Josh Kelly and his hype train. They didn't want their hype train to be stopped or be derailed by him, so they chose to look into another direction. Since then, Conor Ben's been exposed as a drug cheat. He's trying to get back on that road to redemption and hopefully put that behind him. But for all these people out here saying that, oh man, he's going to get his name cleared and it's just a big misunderstanding, that's not the case, man. The man had failed 2 drug tests. Not 1, but 2 drug tests. So the guy is a cheat. He put his name right alongside of people like Dillian White, who's a cheat, Tyson Fury, who's a cheat. These guys are cheaters, man. Not to say that their career should be shut down because of that, but it just needs to be always part of the biography when you talk about those fighters. So we will see what happens and we will see what transpires. But Eddie Hearn, they're out here doing Eddie Hearn type of things. He also talked about Jamal Charlo. It's not a big name in the sport of boxing due to inactivity. That the fight between him and McGill is not the best fight in the middleweight division. That the best fight in the middleweight division is Hyman McGill versus Triple G, a.k.a. Old Man River. That's a good fight. Triple G does have a bigger name in the sport of boxing than Jamal Charlo. For you to make it seem like Jamal Charlo is a no-name, a guy that's a nondescript fighter, that's a goddamn lie. But that's, again, Eddie Hearn hating on the PBC once again. So we will see what happens, and we will see what transpires. I'm about to get up out of here, head over to the sports bar, and catch the Deshaun Watson show as he takes on his former team in the Houston, Texas NRG Stadium. I'm going to go out here and drink a little bit, eat on some wings, and kick back, relax, and watch a little NFL. Follow me on Facebook, Gerard, that Briscoe, that 3551. Like, share, and subscribe to JB Sports, the man, the myth, the legend. And I holla.